take away from the game? You've got a couple of days to digest the film.
Yeah, well, I think what our guys realize is that we have to come and play every single game. Just because you have one or two wins doesn't mean that the next game's going to be easy. It's going to actually be harder, and that's what we're trying to get these guys to understand.
Is that something you saw before the game or early on in the game, that the focus wasn't there, that they may be back on their heels after the big win?
Yeah, I suspected it after the SIU Edwardsville game, but we had some good practices, so I thought we had shaken it off. But then once the game started, I could feel we were, there wasn't a big crowd there. It was, the energy level wasn't the same as the Maryland game, and I could feel us not kind of bringing our own energy.
You got some vets on this team, so is it a maturation thing as a whole, just for them to understand that? Because you would think that guys like Berto and Angus and Devon would know that you got to play.
Yeah, and if you look at the box score, Roberto and Devon did a great job of bringing energy, and I didn't think Angus played that poorly. He didn't take enough shots for me, but it was really more the young guys.
Now, Devon, Roberto was in foul trouble, and Devon sort of just took over a game. What are you seeing from him right now? He just continues to take more steps each and every day.
Yeah, he's just really focused, and he's been focused ever since he got suspended. I think he realized that was a mistake, and it hurt the whole team, and he's on a mission to make up for it, which is great because he's playing well. He's very dialed in to what our game plan is each game, and then watching him shoot foul shots I think that's the biggest difference from last year. He's getting the same amount of shots, but he's making those foul shots that he missed last year, which gets you closer to 20 points a game.
Do you see him? I don't crunch the numbers like you probably have, but is his shooting percentage around the basket gone up this year?
It's gone up since last year. It's actually more like it was his sophomore year, and that's just a function. There's two things at work. He's worked really hard on his shot, but as much as we loved having Joe around, Joe wasn't an offensive threat. So Joe's man oftentimes double teamed Devon last year, and we're not having that with having Angus back, who's a threat. And then having Roberto, who's obviously a threat, and then now you got whoever's in, whether it's Vic, Olaf, one of the freshman guards, Hallis Cook, they all can score, so that just takes some of the pressure off Devon to get double teamed.
Berto talked about Devon developing his right side, doing his right. Have you seen him utilize that right hand?
Oh, yeah.
How much has that opened things up?
Yeah, it has, but Devon's one of those guys. He's just very hard to guard without a double team, and I've seen him go to his right, but he was always pretty decent going to his right. Now what's going to happen is we're going to have to see how he plays as he gets doubled, because I think is the amount of production he's putting up now, it's going to attract double teams. So he's going to have to, be a little bit more crafty at getting his numbers.
Who are you trying to, with the way Devon and Berto are obviously contributing offensively, who are you trying to kick in the butt and be like, hey, shoot the ball more?
That's a good question. It's everybody else, because everybody else is capable. You look at Chalet's capable of banging a couple of shots. Victor has already shown that he could be a 10-point-a-game guy. Angus, who's been a 10 or 12-point-a-game guy, getting him back in shape. Hallis Cook off the bench. Jarmal can get some stuff around the basket. So I'm putting the onus on everybody. If these two guys are doing what they're doing, all we need is one other person to be productive on offense, and then we all have to play better defense.
So from those guys, is it sort of like, do you see them out there on the court maybe looking around, deferring to?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Stephen. You saw that in the DePaul game. I think the rest of our team was waiting for Devon and Roberto to get us out of this jam, instead of saying, well, let me make a couple of plays here and add to the pot. But that's a maturation process. We've got our seniors who are kind of carrying us, and then we need our supporting cast to feel comfortable enough to make some plays.
On the other end of the court, defensively, again, maybe a little bit of a lapse in the second half. Can you pinpoint why that was in the second half? What was lacking specifically?
Yeah, we weren't communicating, which we had been doing a much better job of this year. And then secondly, once we got behind, we started playing sort of individual defense instead of team defense. So we were very worried about the guy we were guarding, and that kills you on the help side and sort of the team defense aspects. But both of those things are correctable, so I feel pretty good about it.
So moving forward, then, are you hammering home the lack of focus, maybe, and energy from the DePaul game, and then trying to show them, hey, the 2 games before that was where we need to be all the time? Is that what you're working on, or what's next?
We're working on 2 things this week. I want to see us play better defense against Arkansas Pine Bluff, and it'll be a challenge for us because they'll be undersized, quick, so it'll give us a good challenge. The other thing is, how are we going to approach getting better every game? Are we going to lose our focus because we're happy to have a good record, or are we going to be perfectionist and try and optimize every single aspect of our growth?
Now, obviously, you'll take a win whenever you can get a win, but you kind of want to see a game where maybe you guys struggle offensively but win it defensively?
You know, that would be nice.
if you can guarantee that
if you could guarantee you're going to win. You know, we're such an offensive club. Our offense is always going to lead the day. But I just want to see some consistent strings of defensive stops and plays. And even if they make a shot, I want to know that we're all in our right spots. We're all talking. We're all on the same page. If I see that, then I'm happy.
You got to go home, obviously, for that trip. Rosemont's not
right.
Did you guys get to venture out at all?
No, that was a quick trip. We went in Friday night late, practiced on Saturday, had dinner, and then played Sunday, came back Monday. So we didn't venture out too much. Where we practiced on Saturday was up in Skokie, so we got to go up that way, but not really down in the city, especially given the weekend. It was a shopper's weekend, so the traffic would have been horrible to go down into Chicago.
You didn't do any shopping?
No, I didn't.